power steering pump on that car, isn't it?
Down but not out.
Get this one off the gear first, and then we'll find a rope.
Yes, the main objective is to move this. We can get that up the driveway, but it's a bit hard to push, so we're going to try and move with this. It's got one axle in it. Sounds good.
Sounds yum, mate. What did they? Damn!
Brother!
It's run out of battery current. Fuck! Oh, we'll do this one on the jack.
Yeah, seen your driveway?
Yeah, I kind of had a brief look. I knew at that point I probably should have lifted. And then at that point I was like, fuck it, let's go.
As you can see, Matt has gone to town and taken everything out that needs to be taken out. Radiator, integral piping, hoses. He's taken all the covers off, timing belt, tensioners, and yeah, so pretty much ready to just take the oil pump off. Well, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get this oil pump off today, so it's loose. But unfortunately, you sort of can see there that there is like a little bolt nut thing on the underside of whatever that is, and it actually sits lower than this level here. So obviously the pump has to just slide forward, but because it sits lower than this line, it actually hits the sump. So yeah, the only way we're going to be able to take this off is, our original idea was we were going to have to get a engine crane, undo the motor mounts, lift the motor up, drop the sump down a little bit so we can get the pump off. I don't know where the fuck we're at with this video, but we're back working on this sack.
It's just an R32, it's not a sack.
So the plan today is we're going to take this oil pump off. To do that, we kind of need to drop the sump. So Matt's gone and got this pretty cool looking contraption. So this just sits on the strut towers here. Basically, we're going to take the weight of the motor up with this using some strops, so we can then drop the subframe down and drop the oil pan down.
I think it's like not a hold this anyway. I wonder how many haters are going to hate and tell us we're doing this wrong.
I mean, the only other option really is to get an engine crane and like lift the motor up slightly, but then you'd have to like disconnect all the shifter and drive shaft to be able to pull it forward, and you'd still have to take all this stuff out anyway. So now this is definitely the best way to do it.
Did you have your wheat bix this morning?
No. Did you?
No, but fuck, I must have hit something.
So we decided to not drop the subframe all the way. We just dropped it down a little bit and tightened ratchet straps for each side to just pull the motor up a little bit, and we should be able to just get the sump off like that. We've taken all the bolts out, we just need to crack all of the sealant around it. Yeah, bend that pan.
Did it?
Probably. These
Nah.
pans bend so easy.
You'll see it'll come off with there quite nice actually. Ah.
Ooh. That sounded like it hurt.
Oh, there's a dust shield across the back of my wrist. This is your job, Joel. It's your job now. Yeah. Ooh.
Just drop the sump down. I can get the oil pump out. Finally. There she is. The next day now, I am on my way to Car Aid. I'm catching up with those boys as they're going to go through the oil pump that we pulled off Ryan's motor yesterday. And yeah, they're going to figure out what actually went wrong with it. I had a quick look at it and I noticed at the bottom of it where I'm pretty sure where the oil return is, like it's just open. So I am still quietly confident that it is the pressure relief valve that's got stuck open. I don't know anything really about RB oil pumps. I was going to do a little bit of Googling, but I knew I was going to be coming here today, so just hear it from the experts' mouths themselves. Alright, I'm going to have to make this a bit choppy so we don't get demonetized with the music, but...
Oh, right, yeah, sure. We can turn that down if you want.
That's all good.
Just to see it's not Loctite.
Yeah.
Lots of people Loctite these. So this is a 26 pump, because I'm sure that's the wide gear. Yeah, that's definitely a GDR pump.
Is it?
Yep.
Was it?
So normally all the 20s got a narrower gear. It's definitely never really shifted anything though, as you can see, like still full of lube. Just looking at that, there's nothing obvious that stands out as being wrong. All that all looks pretty good. Have a look at this relief valve. Yeah, this is definitely a GDR pump. There's nothing wrong with that. See, it's nice and free.
Yep.
So basically oil pressure will push it off and start to open that cavity there. I'd normally put a shim in them, but on your 20...
Yeah, this motor's never going to see big power.
And this pump's already overkill for a 20 anyway, but it's a good thing to have, obviously. As you know, RBs can never have too much oil pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, I was completely unaware that this is a RB26 pump. The motor that this came out, well, the car that this motor came out of was my first ever turbo RB. So yeah, someone's obviously put
it's definitely RB26 dimension. I mean, it could be a 25, a late 25 turbo one as well.
Oh yeah.
But it's bigger than a normal 20 pump.
Yeah.
Sure. So realistically, I can't see anything wrong with that. I think you're looking at that pickup. If they can suck air anywhere, they'll suck air before they suck oil. So here, if you've got a leak path here, it's way above the oil level, so it's always going to try and suck air here before it'll suck. It's not swimming at all.
True, yeah.
Oh, and the other thing, if I was doing one here, I would go in here and radius. Basically these are just straight drillings. There's a drilling there, and they intersect at like a sharp angle. So I've got a little burr and a die grinder. I'll go in there and radius off all the sharp edges. Yep. Time that oil's going over a sharp edge, it gets turbulent, it gets ripped up, and it increases the oil temp and drops a bit of the pressure out of it as well. So anything you can do to get rid of those sharp edges is a benefit. I'll go in here and radius the corner in there, the suction side, and put a radius on that lead-in one going into the gallery as well.
Little tricks of the trade that figure out after years and years of working on these things.
Yeah, we used to make our own gears, CNC out the gears, and we did a fair bit of testing on all these gears, and we put our gears in and checked them against the factory gears just to make sure that the flow and pressure was going to be the same. Our ones are actually up in flow and pressure, but at the same time I tested that porting to see if the difference it would make, and it definitely made a difference in the temperature, how long it took to heat the oil up, and the volume as well.
Well, when we go to build any of my motors in the future, we're definitely going to have to do that, but Ryan's pump can just remain as is.
Yeah, fair enough. I think the stuff that likes the Kelford in that supply with their cams is all this stuff. It's like a really super tacky high viscosity oil.
So we're just talking about packing this, because when I put it together, I originally packed it with you can see like this engine assembly lube. But Al was just saying how they use this stuff.
You want oil on these gears as well, obviously.
Yep.
Even though you've got that assembly lube in there to take up some of the volume, it's going to keep those gears well lubed as well. There will be clearances, these side clearances, that are quite critical as well, and you can check all of that with a feeler blade. 3 or 4 thou on the side clearance, and also another critical clearance on an oil pump is the depth of the gear, which I can show you how we check that. If people are buying aftermarket gears, things like that, always pays to check end clearance here to the housing. So we're checking the depth of that gear to the casting, and I want it to be between 2 and probably no more than like 4 or 5 thou. It's a thousandth of an inch. 4 thou would be the equivalent of your average piece of paper, the thickness of your piece of paper. You know, I was saying about that casting sealing off the gears, it's the same on the top as well. It has to seal off certain areas to be able to create pressure.
True,
There's big leak paths.
Yep.
It ain't going to create pressure. So I put that across there and wind that down. It's showing 3 thou there, which is mint.
Yep, sweet. So the saga continues, and interesting developments. I was absolutely completely full of shit when I was on my way here, because I was looking at in there, and you can sort of like see through. I thought for some reason the pressure relief valve was in there and the oil came out of that and back into the sump through there, but yeah, that's not the pressure relief valve at all, as Al showed me and you guys before, that it's actually this thing here. So yeah, what we also realized though was, because there was still assembly lube packed in here when we pulled the plate off, and there was no signs of oil at all, it means our motor wasn't picking oil up from the pickup, which is confusing the shit out of me, because I swear Matt put the oil filter onto the motor dry, because when we pulled it off it had oil in it. So that leaves me to believe that Matt actually filled the filter up before he put it on the motor, but I swear he put it on empty. So he must have filled it up before he put it on, because yeah, this definitely has not had oil through it. But that does mean that we have a good pump, so I'm on my way back to Matt's now, where we're gonna pull off the oil pickup and have a look at that. Finally try and rectify this this shit, because Ryan wants his car back.